Hello and welcome. I am Trixie Paprika. I am a core company member of Novelties Theater, and I'm delighted to be here with Whisper de Corvo, who is bringing us an act based on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, entitled The White Witch and/or Ice Queen, I believe. So welcome. Whisper, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and then a little bit about what drew you to making this act?
So I'm Whisper de Corvo. I have been in the burlesque world here in Seattle for 14 years, and producing, performing, handing out flyers, being anxious on stage. It's great. And I am non-binary, and when I pick a character, that is always in my mind. Typically, when I pick a nerdless character, I pick a male character that I embody in this body, because they're better written. They have more range, the villains are more villainy, and they have backstory, and they have reasons for why they are who they are. And that's just you know, all you writers out there, I love what you're doing, but write more backstory. For this particular act, I picked one of the femme-presenting characters I thought that was the most flat. The least backstory, the least character development. The bitch is just mad. She's just mad, and she makes everyone cold, and she won't let you have Christmas, and she tries to tempt you with candy and gets you hooked. And then she just turns you to stone. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And may I say that having seen this act already, I wouldn't follow you into the woods. I certainly see, like I said, in that theme there is this magnetism. What did you really want to pull out? Because there, as you said, it's a very flat character in the books, but there's so much going on stage. What did you bring into the character or into the experience of creating the act that you wanted us to see?
Well, I'm not flat. I don't mean like flat-chested or anything like that. I mean like face-wise, I'm not flat. I make faces on stage. Sometimes they're like, oh fuck, was that a cockroach? You never know where you're performing. Not here. That's great. I have a nickname, and it was given to me by one of your core members.
Oh.
A tagline of the meanest person in burlesque.
Excellent.
And it's because I like to snarl at people on stage. So I really liked that, and I wanted to add that in and maybe round out this character a little bit more. Make you ask the questions of, why is this bitch turning everyone to stone? What's going on? But also, why did C.S. Lewis write this strong female character so flat in such a way that she's just cold and distant and cruel and there's nothing else? So I spent a lot of time thinking about that.
Absolutely. I think those are great questions. I wanted to ask about your relationship to these books. When did you first read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? I think some people encounter it in childhood, some people encounter it as adults, and I'm curious how it entered your world.
So I was homeschooled, and my parents insisted on 3 hours a day of reading because I am autistic and ADHD, and I don't stop talking, and I've only gotten better than I was at 11, which actually I think I started at 10 when I read the series.
Okay, wow, so that's quite young.
Yeah, I loved it, and then I found out it was all Christianity-based, and I was really mad.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up. I was going to ask how your relationship to this particular character may have changed since the first time that you read about her.
I have a lot of compassion for this particular character. I mean, I really like villains anyways because they're queer-coded and they got the best fucking costumes.
Yeah, they do.
And villains arch their eyebrows, and I stood in front of the mirror as a kid and I taught myself how to arch an eyebrow. I was like, yeah, I love real sarcastic. So yeah, that was a lot of my childhood. Reading books and practicing facial expressions in front of a mirror.
You know what? It brought you here, and I would say that is an excellent thing. Could you tell us a little bit about your creative process? How do you start creating an act like this? You've talked a little bit about the character, but there's also such movement. There's the costume, there's the sort of overall vibe. What do you start with? Where do you go from there?
So typically I have a song in mind already. And then I base a lot of everything else around it. But I ask myself, if this character ended up backstage at a burlesque show, what would they choose to put on stage? And I couldn't turn you all to stone. So, and I couldn't stop to get Turkish delight, and none of you deserve it anyways.
That was the right response, everyone.
So I'm just gonna flow around and fuck around and find out.
That's great. What themes did you really want to bring forward in this act? I mean, there's that sort of villain, there's the being the meanest person in burlesque, but was there something in particular that you really latched onto that you wanted to bring out?
I really wanted to play up the femininity of this character that is so often stripped from her. Like I said, oftentimes, especially for villains, female characters are very flat. They're just, they're a means to an end. They're a vehicle in the story, but there's no real information about them. And that's exhausting. And so I wanted to not just play up her harshness, but her curves, her tease, and her, well, I mean, she starts off so soft and, oh, come into my carriage. Here, have a fur. Have you ever had these delicious and totally addicting little cornstarch goodies? I mean, they're really good. I am a fan of Turkish Delight, but only because of the books.
Agreed. I remember being very confused when I finally had one. I was like, this is good, but would I follow a witch for it? I don't know. Anyway, no. Yeah, I really saw that in your act, which was exciting and interesting and engaging, and I can't wait for the audience to see it. So we have a couple of fun questions that we often ask, and I am both excited and terrified to ask you, what do you think C.S. Lewis would think of this act?
He'd fucking hate it, and I love that.
Yes.
I'm sorry, not actually, as much as I like his writing, I'm really not into pushing Christian propaganda at children, and that's what all those stories are. So, I was so mad. When I say I was mad as a child, you're thinking a stomping fit. No. I had a screaming betrayal, my heart broke, I flung myself pre-adolescent onto the bed with the deepest sigh, and then a wail escaped that my neighbors were concerned about. I was so deeply mad. Also, like, Aslan's like the crappiest deadbeat dad.
So what I'm hearing is that what you would like for C.S. Lewis to feel is what you felt.
Shame!
Shame! Yes, excellent. I think that could probably be arranged if he were here. Well, and similarly, another one of our fun questions is what food or drink would you pair with this? And you're not allowed to say Turkish Delight.
Thank you. I actually would do a spiced red wine.
Ooh.
Because so much, a warmed spiced red wine, because so much of the story is when Narnia is still caught in the grips of winter. And what better way to warm yourself up and remember all the dangers than a delicious, warm, spiced red wine?
That sounds delicious and seems like it would pair very well.
Let me tempt you into the woods.
Oh yeah,
I have some right over there.
Thank you. I have one more question before I ask you the final question, which is, do you have anything else to say? But I would love to know about your crown and is there a story behind it?
Yes. Well, I won this last year when I was named Seattle Queer Monarch of 2021.
Yes, excellent. Well, then it is a legitimate crown. Ta-da! Wonderful. Is there anything else about this act or the process that you want to tell us about before we watch it?
You know, this act was actually really challenging to create because the character is so flat, and I had to work with a lot of my own preconceptions, starting in childhood and moving forward, and my own internalized misogyny that is built up from reading people like C.S. Lewis. So that was challenging, finding music that fit for the time constraints that I wanted to work within, because like most of the songs I could find were like 2 minutes, and I'd just be like coming out here and then naked.
Yeah. No, too much.
Too much. It's not enough. But yeah, so it was pretty challenging, but it was rewarding and exciting.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and let's watch this delicious act.
Thanks for watching Ekphrasis, a production of Novelties Theatre. If you enjoyed this episode, we invite you to make a tax-deductible donation through the link in the video description. And don't forget to like and subscribe below as we turn the pages of literary burlesque and take Novelties Theatre into the next chapter.